if you have not watched the last lecture, must watch that lecture, because that lecture is connected to this one. So but before going to start this lecture, I will recall the previous one. We have done in the previous video that Ubila geniculata is a colonial form. It formed colonies, and the whole colony was attached to a substrate by a root-like structure, and we call that structure as hydrorhiza. So we have seen that from the hydrorhiza, verticals, stem-like structure are arised. So these are verticals, stem-like structure, and we call this structure as hydrocalyx. And we have seen that from the hydrocalyx, two lateral branches are arised. So this is the one branch, and here will be the another branch. So from the hydrocalyx, two lateral branches are arised, and we know that at the apex of these branches there will be individuals of the colony. So the individuals of the colony lives over here, and the structure of these individuals will be, one was like this, these are the tentacles, and the another structure was like a capsule-like. It was a capsule-like with an opening. So we have seen that the whole Ubila geniculata colony was attached to the substratum by a root-like structure. Here you can see that this is the root-like structure, and it is support for the whole colony. So the colony will be attached to its substratum by this root-like structure, and this structure is known as hydrorhiza. So from the hydrorhiza, here we can see that these green-like, so these are the stem-like structure, and we call this structure as hydrocalyx. Now next you can see that from this hydrocalyx, two lateral branches are arised, and these are in alternate form. So these lateral branches bears individuals are zooids of this colony. So we know that the colony is made up of individuals, and individual of this hydroid colony is known as zooid. So now we will discuss those zooid in detail. So our topic is zooid. Zooids are actually the individuals of, we have termed this colony of Ubila geniculata in the class Hydrozoa, that the colony of class Hydrozoa is known as hydroid colony. And you must know that in colony is inhabited by the individuals or members, and those members or individuals are called zooids. So here you can see that this is the immature colony, and here you can see the two types of zooids. So the first one is this, and other is this one. So these are both zooids or individuals which are looking different from each other, and they will have a separate function. So in a mature colony we have three types of zooids. So here it is immature, so we will have only two types of zooid. But a mature colony has three types of zooids or individual, and the other one is, the last one is the medusa. So a mature colony will have three types of zooid. So this medusa is formed by this zooid. So now we will study the types of zooids. So here in the case of Ubila geniculata colony or hydroid colony, we have three types of zooids. So you can see that there are three types of zooids. The first one over here will be the gastrozooid. Next we have, so this one is the gastrozooid. Next we have the gonozooid, and the last one we have the medusa. So these are the three individuals of a hydroid colony. This hydroid colony is inhabited by these three types of individuals, and each type of individual performs its own function. So each one individual has assigned a specific responsibility or a specific task. So this one here you can see that this first number, this is known as the gastrozooid, and its main function is to provide food to this whole colony. So this whole colony will be dependent upon this zooid or this individual, and it will provide food to this whole colony. And this zooid is known as feeding zooid or gastrozooid. Next we have seen that this one is the gonozooid. So what is the function of this gonozooid? The function of this gonozooid is to produce medusa by the process of budding. So this is the another separate function for this zooid, that it produces medusa by the process of budding. Next, here you can see that we have a third type of zooid or individual. What is the function of this individual? So this individual will form. So we have seen in the life cycle that what happens, that these both release gametes, and whenever there is gametes, they combine, they form zygote, and this zygote is converted into blastula, and that blastula is converted into planula. So the planula is formed, which is a larva, and this planula is settled down on the ground and it forms a young polyp. So what it forms a young polyp, and after the successive budding, what will happen? A colonies will be formed. So we have seen that the medusa function is to form new colonies. So here you can see that three types of individuals are found in this colony, and each individual has its own function. So the function of this individual is to provide food to this whole colony, and this individual, its function is to make new medusa by the process of budding. So we will see that how the medusa are formed by the process of budding from this gonozooid or from this individual. Next we have seen that we have a third type of individual found in the colony, and this individual will form a new colony. So this is the life cycle, and it will form a new colony. So each and every individual in the Obelia geniculata or in a hydroid colony will have its own function, and it will be assigned a specific task. So this phenomena of existing of different morphological form. So here you can see that this form is different from these two other, and this phenomena is known as polymorphism, in which we have three different types or more different types of individuals. Each one is different from each other in morphology, as well as they are different from each other in responsibilities and function. So this phenomena we have discussed that this phenomena is known as polymorphism. So now we will discuss each and every gastrozooid, each and every zooid in detail. So first of all, come towards the gastrozooid. That what is gastrozooid, what is its function, what is its structure. So here you can see that this is the gastrozooid, and the gastrozooid is identified by the presence of tentacles. So tentacles, we know that we have seen in the feeding and digestion lecture that the tentacles have a major role in the capturing of prey. We have also seen that the tentacles epidermis was consisting of 6 types of cell, and among those cells the 3 types of cell were of more significant. The first one we have seen that it was consisting of cnidocyte, which was consisting of nematocyst, which is a stringing structure. It was injected into the prey, and the prey was paralyzed. So these tentacles helps this polyp or this individual to capture the food. The food will be digested over here. So here in the case of Obelia geniculata, a common cylindron or common gastrovascular cavity is present. So this whole colony will consist of a common gastrovascular cavity. So first of all, come to all the gastrozooid. That what is gastrozooid? Here you can see that this one is the gastrozooid, and we have seen the gastrozooid has tentacles. That the function of tentacle is described that it helps in the capturing of food. So if you remember, I told you that from the Obelia geniculata colony, a proteinaceous non-living membrane or layer is covered. So this black one here, you can see that this black one is covering the whole colony, and this structure or this membrane is known as perisarc. We have discussed it that this is the perisarc. So if you have not watched the previous video, please must watch that video. I have discussed this perisarc, sinusarc, hydrorhiza and hydrochelys in detail. So here you can see that the whole Obelia geniculata colony is surrounded by a proteinaceous layer, and we call this layer as perisarc. So the perisarc will also enclose this gastrozooid. So from this region to this region, this is the gastrozooid. So in case of gastrozooid, this perisarc will be like So here you can see that this black one is the perisarc, which is enclosing the hydrorhiza, hydrocalus, as well as the gastrozoid. So here in the case of gastrozoid, you can see that at the base of a gastrozoid, so this one is the gastrozoid. And you can see that at the base of gastrozoid, this perisarc form ring-like structure. So these are the ring-like structure, and these ring-like structures are called perisarcal annuli. Annuli we generally use the annuli term for ring. So these are perisarcal rings. At the base of the gastrozoid, the perisarc form ring-like structure, and we call those ring-like structure as perisarcal annuli. Next we have seen that the perisarc is continuous with the epidermis of this gastrozoid. So the perisarc, which was enclosing the hydrorhiza, hydrocalus, and here in the case of gastrozoid, this perisarc has been given a special name. So the perisarc, which is enclosing the, so this whole perisarc, which encloses the gastrozoid. So first of all, we will see gastrozoid. So the perisarc of gastrozoid has been given a special name, and that name is hydrotheca. So hydrotheca is the perisarc of gastrozoid. So this gastrozoid is also known as hydranth form, or simply we can call it as polypoid or polyform. So this is the second name for gastrozoid. That gastrozoid are also known as hydranth or polypoid, or simply we can call it as polyform. So now we will come towards the function of gastrozoids. And as we have seen that the function of gastrozoid is to provide what? It provides food to this whole colony, and this whole colony will be dependent upon this gastrozoid. So it is a feeding individual. So it is a feeding individual, or we can say that it is a feeding zooid. So zooid, from zooid we means that the colony will be made up of individual, or the colony will be inhabited by the individuals, and those individuals of the colony is known as zooids. So these zooid will have a separate function, and the first zooid of this colony is known as gastrozoid, which is a feeding zooid, and its function is to provide food to this whole colony, and this whole colony will depend upon this gastrozoid. And we also given some other name to this gastrozoid, that is hydranth or polypoid form. And we have seen that the whole Ubila geniculata colony is surrounded by a protective non-living proteinaceous layer or cover, and that cover is called perisarc. And the perisarc, which is enclosing the gastrozoid, here we can see that this perisarc is enclosing the gastrozoid up to this region. This region is not covered by the perisarc. So this is the distal region, which is free. It is not covered by the perisarc. And the perisarc of gastrozoid is known as hydrotheca. So here, remember that this is the gastrozoid. Here we have divided this gastrozoid into two regions. So this region is the base region, and this region is known as proximal end. It is near to this hydrocalus, and this one is far from the hydrocalus, so we call this region as distal end. So here in the case of gastrozoid, you can see that the proximal end is surrounded by the perisarc, while the distal end is free and it is not surrounded by the perisarc. So that was all about the gastrozoid, its morphology and its function.